Wild River, Day 3, Chapter 10. Hi-ho for Elmer Fudd. As soon as Mia wakes up, I explain what I have in mind. Her eyes widen. Great idea, Daniel. We'll discuss it after breakfast and make a decision. I might be blushing. Not that anybody would notice. I'm pretty sure we're all too grimy and grumpy and hungry to pick up on that fact. Deke has an expression on his face that says, "Don't even think about crossing me." Tony looks scared and miserable. Amani isn't letting anything show, which she's really good at. Lots of practice, I think. And Mia, she's as determined as ever, with a bright spark of energy in her large brown eyes. Good morning, everybody. Let's make breakfast. She reaches into the pack. Sorry, there's no actual breakfast meal. How about beef and noodles? That should give us an energy boost, and we're gonna need it. Tony yawns and goes, huh? Say what? Daniel, please explain your idea. Now, I really do feel embarrassed. Speaking out or making suggestions is not my thing. But these are special circumstances, right? I'm pretty sure my voice is shaking, at least at first. Our mission was to raft down Crazy River from the drop-off point to the pickup location, the one Sky was going to phone in but never got the chance. The same location that other rafters would be using. If there are other rafters. Maybe there are ahead of us. And if they survived, my guess is they'll be heading downriver. There's bound to be a road at a pickup location because vans are supposed to be waiting for rafters, and a road means somebody will see us. So what if our new mission is to follow the river to the pickup location? Better chance of rescue there than out here in the wilderness. Tony looks puzzled, but Deke is nodding approval. I like it, Danny boy. Instead of sitting around hoping to be rescued, we take it into our own hands. I wonder how far it is from here. I shrug. Not sure, but our trip was supposed to take 3 days. And from the way Sky talked about it, some of that was whitewater and a lot of paddling. I'm thinking at least 10 miles. Probably more. Maybe a lot more. Everybody's for it. And that may be the only thing that all 5 of us agree on anything. Collecting kindling and firewood goes quicker because we've had the practice and know not to waste time searching the wrong places. After breakfast, Mia carefully folds the blue tarp and repacks the backpack. Deke offers to carry it and she declines. You're lost, girly whirl. Let me know if you change your mind. Mia makes a face. She's sick of Deke's taunts. That much is obvious. When we were ready to get started, Mia says, Follow me. That gets a snickering laugh out of Tony. Follow her right over a cliff. Hey, Deke? Shut up, Deke says, which shuts Tony up for the rest of the morning. Mia selects a path that's at least 100 feet from the edge of the ravine and starts walking, briskly but carefully. None of us want to stumble and fall. We need to follow the path to the river. But not so close. There is a danger of going over the edge or causing another ledge to collapse. An hour later, our hiking is turned into trudging. It's not fun shoving your way through prickly bushes and around piles of rock. Not in the misty rain, with our bellies already rumbling. In fact, it's downright miserable. To lighten the mood, Mia starts singing. She has a nice voice, but the song is meant to be funny. Hi ho, it's off to camp we go. In the rain and mud like Elmer Fudd. Hi ho. Amani is the second to chime in. Ditto on the nice voice. Must be a girl thing. Singing our way out of misery because none of the boys join in. By the time they wear out the silly tune, we're well on our way. The scene of the disaster is beside us. As to what lies ahead, I'm almost afraid to think about it. Chapter 11, Boys Get More. It's hard to believe how much the river was wrecked by the flood, but there it is right before our eyes. Masses of smashed trees piled high, boulders as big as trucks scattered like marbles, shoals of glistening sand and mud, all of it strewn around like a giant had a temper tantrum and went nuts, ripping away the grown-ups and leaving us kids on our own. Must have been a zillion tons of water let loose when the dam broke, a force powerful enough to change the shape of the riverbed, wiping out old curves and forming new ones. We're taking a break, staring out over the edge of the ravine to the scene of destruction when Mia says, It wrecked the world, didn't it? Changed everything For the river and for us. Deke shrugs. Proves my point. We shouldn't have been here. Mia turns on him. They didn't know what was going to happen. Well, they should have. That was their job, keeping us safe. They tried. They died trying. It wasn't their fault. They were taking us on a cool adventure, teaching us leadership. They didn't know the dam was going to fail. Deke has a mean-sounding laugh. They found us an adventure, all right. Just because they're adults doesn't mean they didn't make a big mistake. Not on purpose. And they did keep us safe. In the end, we survived because of them. Believe what you want, girly whirl. Don't call me that. Deke grins because he thinks he's winning, poking her with cruel words, messing with her head. We should keep moving, I suggest. Tony makes a dog woofing noise and points at me. Hey, Daniel the Spaniel thinks he's the big man now. Deke, tell him who's the real boss. Deke ignores him. He wipes the rain off his dripping nose and strides to the path. Like if he's first in line, that makes him the leader. Which means he has to deal with the bristly bushes and be the first to duck under snagging tree branches and trip on roots hidden beneath damp leaves. At one point, he has a look like, what have I gotten myself into? But he keeps on going. Me a second, then me and Damani and Tony bringing up the rear. He doesn't look happy, probably because Deke has been snarky with him as he has been with the rest of us. How long is this going to take? Tony wants to know, his voice almost breaking. As long as it takes, Deke barks out from the front. Mia shakes her head, but keeps her mouth shut. You can tell she's thinking, calculating the best way to handle the situation. If any of us are born leaders, it's her. Not because she's bossy. She's not, but because she thinks things through. I wish Deke could see it her way, but that's never going to happen. It's all about him, and not about us. That's the difference. Hard to know what time of day it is, with the clouds blocking out the sun, but Tony has a strap-on Disney wristwatch, so he announces that it's noon. I believe him. 12 p.m., lunchtime. I don't know about you guys, but I'm starving. Mia ignores him and keeps trudging along. Did you hear me? Time to stop for lunch. I'm hungry enough to eat a bowl of freeze-dried maggots. Everybody laughs, including Deke. It may be gross, but it's also funny, especially if you've seen the ingredients before the boiled water gets poured over them. Sorry, Mia says. Only 10 meals left. We can't have 3 meals a day. 1 meal, that's it. Deke stops striding and turns to face her. You know what I heard? Girls have an extra layer of fat so they can survive longer without food. So it's only fair the boys get more. Mia ignores that, tries to get around him. He blocks her. What do you say, girly whirl? What does your extra layer of fat say? I shout, Hey, let her go. Deke gives me a long look. Finally, he says, We're on the same side, Danny boy, aren't we? We're not, and he knows it. But he's daring me to take him on. He's a head taller and built like an athlete. Me, I'm a skinny kid with blurred glasses. Skinny bean in blurred glasses. A kid who always managed to avoid a fight. Until now. Chapter 12. 2 Red Eyes. When my little brothers start fighting, I can usually make them stop. Partly because I'm older, but mostly because I'm bigger than they are. With me and Deke, it's the opposite. That's why my knees are shaky as I step between him and Mia. My mouth is suddenly so dry it's hard to get the words out. Hey, Deke, can I ask you a favor? He gives me this scornful look like I must be out of my mind. Seriously? If we could talk for a minute, I ask him. He shakes his head but allows me to turn him away from Mia, who's holding her ground. When we're a few yards away, he stops and folds his arm across his chest and says, This better be good. Okay, first, we are on the same side. The side of finding our way home, of, surviving. And you really can help us do that. You're the biggest and the strongest, and out here in the wilderness, that could make all the difference. Blah, blah, blah. Do you have a point, Danny boy? My point is that we're counting on you. We're all hungry, but some of us are scared we'll run out of food. So if you keep leading us along the trail like you're doing, I'll give you some of my breakfast tomorrow morning. Deke stares at me like I'm a bug on a windshield and he's the wiper. Dude, that is so weak. I'm ashamed for you. A few minutes later, he's back leading the hike with Tony tagging just behind. Mia is so embarrassed for me she doesn't bother to thank me for handling the situation. Amani must see it different because she touches her forehead and nods in approval as if to say, "Good thinking." What I did to distract Deke probably seems pitiful at the very least, but it worked. He's fighting his way along the river, breaking new trail with his big feet and his long arms, and he and Tony seem to have given up on demanding another meal. It won't last, I know that. By mid-afternoon, the rain has eased, even if the sky stays so overcast that it feels like you could reach up and touch the clouds. Then, for a while, the pathway widens, making it much easier to trudge along. Mia looks like she's struggling with the backpack, but the thought of asking if she wants a hand makes me cringe. Plus, it would crank Deke up. Better keep my mouth shut and hope we can get through the day. How many miles have we hiked? Who knows? Probably not as many as it feels. All the times we've clambered down to drink from the river and then had to climb back up, that slows us down. When daylight starts to dim, Amani suggests we look for shelter and make camp. We all seem to agree that's a good idea. Tony makes a joke of it. Motel 6? Really? I think we need to aim higher. Some of us chuckle because it is sort of funny. Not Amani. Like a cave or something, she says, dead serious. Anything to stay dry. With that in mind, we study the opposite side of the ravine, looking for the shadows that might mark a cave. Tony prances around, making caveman noises. Ooga booga, ugga ugga jug. I'm not surprised that Mia spots the cave first. She has the sharpest eyes. The cave, if you can call it that, isn't in the face of the ravine. It's under a mass of roots from a toppled tree. Some big slabs of rock lifted up by the roots, and under that, what looks to be an area protected from the weather. Mia gets the flashlight out of the backpack. Look out for bears, Tony jokes. Not funny. Mia clicks on the flashlight and aims the beam into the opening. Two glowing eyes stare back at us. With a horrifying cat-like shriek, a mountain lion explodes from the darkness. Chapter 13. Wild Yellow Eyes. The creature, all muscle and bone, leans in a crouch, no more than 10 feet from Mia. Ears back, tail twitching, jaws open to big, glistening fangs, hissing and growling low in its throat like a purr gone bad. All the signs of an impending attack. Stand next to me, I shout. Don't break eye contact. Stare at it. Make yourself look tall. Raise your hands over your head. The bigger we look, the more chance it will run away. We jam ourselves together, side by side, fists in the air. If Mia was alone, she'd probably already be dead. Fangs like that can penetrate a human skull, but confronted by 5 humans, the beast is nervous, unsure of itself. The growl gets louder, higher. The tail twitches faster. Don't run! No matter how much you want to, don't. Running makes you look like a meal. So what do we do? Tony sounds as scared as me. Back up slowly, I say, looking into the lion's yellow eyes. Keep together. We back up, putting a few yards between us and the lion. Its crouch tightens, as if preparing to pounce or charge. We yell together at the top of our lungs, I say, not in fear but in threat. Go, cat, as loud as possible. All together now. Go, cat! Go, cat! Go, cat! Those wild yellow eyes, drinking us in, wanting blood, wanting to claw and tear and rip and bite. We chant, scream, Go, cat! Go, cat! Go, cat! Go, cat! Go, cat! Now or never. I have a jackknife in my pocket, but don't dare lower my hands to take it out. Besides, a small knife isn't much of a weapon against a creature with fangs that big. Go, cat! Go, cat! Go, cat! Go, cat! Go, cat! With a swish of its tail, the beast explodes from its crouch and runs away. So fast and furious in that time it takes to exhale, the mountain lion has vanished. My knees are so weak I nearly fall down. Mia, sobbing in relief, gives me a hug that nearly breaks my ribs. Dude, Tony says, lowering his arms. How did you know how to do that? I shrug. My brother Phil. He's 2 years younger, and when he heard about the trip, he was freaked out that I'd get eaten by mountain lions, which almost happened. So thank you, Phil. Anyhow, to make him feel less scared for me, we looked it up together what to do if confronted by a lion. 5 things. Don't break eye contact. Make yourself look tall. Never run. Back up slowly. Shout as loud as possible. Mia says, I wanted to run. Worst thing you can do. It will trigger an attack for sure. Running down prey is what it does. Deke gives me a punch to the arm. Little too hard to be friendly. Pretty cool, Danny boy. Impressive. But you didn't have to worry. I could have killed it with my bare hands. Seriously. That skinny, mangy thing couldn't have weighed more than 70 pounds. Amani, hands on her hip, confronts him. Fool! You are a fool, Deke. A mean, stupid fool. You didn't save us. He did. Deke stares at her like he stared at the big cat. Then he laughs, whooping it up and clapping his hands. Wow, she speaks. Amani shakes her head, disgusted. He turns to me. Hey, no hard feelings, Danny boy. I was just teasing. It's obvious he doesn't mean the apology, that it's just more teasing. But I decide we've got more important things to do, like finding shelter, so I go. No hard feelings. We need to keep moving. Deke gives me a scornful look. Keep moving? We won the cave. It's ours. We build a fire, make a hot meal. Lions defend their lairs. It will come back. He makes more of a fuss. But when the rest of us start moving, so does he. And as we slog along, exhausted and hungry, searching for a place to get out of the rain, I'm thinking there's a creature even more dangerous than a mountain lion. His name is Deacon Bailey. And if we're not careful, he's going to get us killed. Chapter 14. No Reason to Starve. I'm hoping the mountain lion has had enough of us shouting humans and hightailed it in the opposite direction. But in case I'm wrong, we stick close together as we slowly hike away from the cave, trudging along with the warm, misty rain dripping from the rim of my cap. An hour or so later, night has fallen, and Mia suggests we call it a day. Too dangerous to keep going in the dark. We'll have to rig the tarp as best as we can. To my surprise, Deke decides to help. Mia holds the flashlight while we find branches to rig the lines. It's only a cheap blue tarp, one that has already started to leak, but it's better than nothing. Mia suggests we sit with our backs to each other instead of lying on the damp ground and try to get some sleep. Tony finds the idea ridiculous. Are you serious? What about making a fire? Eating a hot meal? I mean, after a frigging tiger, shouldn't we celebrate? It was a lion, Tony, says Mia. I don't care what it was. A thing with scary teeth who wanted to eat us. And we can't make a fire because we don't have any dry wood and it's too dark to find any. Without a fire, we can't boil water for the freeze dried, okay? We'll just have to wait until morning. Don't talk to me like I'm stupid. Deke, am I right? Help me out here. He's right, Deke says. We deserve a fire and a meal. Sorry, Mia says softly and a little sadly. We wait until daylight. What happens next is almost as scary as the lion. Deke leaps to his feet, his head thumping the tarp. He screams at Mia. Not words, just animal sounds of rage. The darkness makes it scarier. To witness him out of control. I'm sick of this, he rages. Sick of you bossing us around. What do you know? You're just a girl. You think you're better than us? But you're not. You're a nothing. In my imagination, I picture myself decking him with one punch, but I'd never be able to do that myself. He's too strong and angry. I'm too skinny and afraid. You act like you might never be rescued and put yourself in charge of the food. You're the one who's stupid, Mia, because there's a billionaire out there right now searching for us, Byron James. He's paying for this trip, for the leadership program. You really think he isn't out going to spend whatever he has to locate the survivors? You tell her, Deke, Tony chimes in gleeful. I decide I have to say something, even if it means him taking a swing at me. I sure hope you're right. I really do. But they don't have any idea we were on the crazy river or survived the flood from the broken dam. So, like Mia said, maybe they're not looking here. Montana's a big state, right? Lots of wilderness to get lost in. I can't see Deke's face, but no doubt he's sneering. You don't know Byron James. I do. My parents worked for the guy, remember? He's like a genius on a bunch of levels. The most important inventor since Edison. He'll be checking out every little detail, and he'll hire the best, most well equipped search parties. By now, they've figured out we weren't on the first river. They'll be looking at every whitewater river in 100 miles. I hope so. Guaranteed. They'll find us tomorrow, the next day at the latest. So there's no reason to starve. One last time, Mia, give me the backpack. I don't care how dark it is. We'll scrounge up some wood and make fire and eat until we're not hungry. Hand it over now. Her answer is a whisper. No. Fine. Be that way, I'm calling for a vote. Who leads the group, Mia or me? What about Daniel? Amani says. Maybe he should be the leader. Deke laughs. The idea of me as a leader is that funny. Danny boy, want to throw your hat in the ring? No way. That's what I thought. Two choices. Me or little Miss Know-It-All. Ready? Mia, turn on the flashlight. We need to save the batteries. Turn it on. We have to have a show of hands we can't have a show of hands in the dark. She turns it on and screams at what she sees.